Hi, welcome to Author Chat with myself, Nancy Kuykendall, and Eileen Moynihan. Good day, Eileen.
Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon from me.
Yes,
Good
we always
morning.
do this, but we are 6 hours apart. Eileen is in Ireland and I am in the United States. It's morning for me and it's late afternoon or afternoon for you. So we like to gather together. Those of you who have watched us before, you know we like to gather together as a duo and talk about topics, book topics. And we have one today that we had planned on continuing into last time when we let ourselves run out of time, and we wanted to follow up. So today, Eileen, why don't you introduce what we're going to talk about today, and I'll let you get started on that.
Well, today we're going to discuss the difference with Kindle Direct Publishing, which we both publish with, between Matte and Glossy, and also other books from outside KDP. Now, I must admit, I prefer the Glossy myself. And it's probably because I have a lot of bright colours because I do a lot of children's books, but I've also published poetry books. And when I did order a matte book a long time ago, I didn't like the feel of it. Some people might like it. It's kind of soft to touch, but it's kind of a funny feeling to us, kind of a squidgy feeling. Some people would describe the feeling as like running your nails across an old blackboard.
Yes,
So I think it depends
I'm one
really
of
on the
those.
person. So this is a book, not mine now, but it was done on KDP by someone, and it's matte and it's more up to date now. And a lot of people have said it's improved with the feel. So again, does feel soft. The colours are more muted than would be on a glossy one. And this is the one that's supposed to be the rage really for novels and poetry and
Mhm.
literature, what they call literature. So it's more approved of than glossy. Well, glossy would be better for children's books, especially because you can wipe them down and they're not so bad for fingerprints and mess. And also it reflects the light. And I think that would draw children towards that kind of thing. For example, this one, The Dreamsmith, one of my children's books.
Yes, I can see that's glossy and it's nice.
It is. Now, it might be a problem with the reflection if you're taking photographs for social media
Yeah.
of your book.
Hmm.
I'm sure there's various ways you can get around that if you read up on it. But as I say, most of my books, they're all the glossy type. So that's the road I go down. And what
It's
about you, Nancy?
Well, I think the glossy is nice as well, and I've been very choosy which books of mine I put in matte. And I'll explain that more in just a moment. But the glossy, especially depending on what you have on your cover, like those two you just showed, is more like a photograph. So it brings out that color and what a photograph would show. It's like when you print photos either on matte paper or glossy paper, it looks very different.
It's
And just
true.
like the books do. So I actually prefer glossy as well. And I like to do glossy for hardbacks, but I've also done them for paperbacks, and I'm going to share one. We're going to share a few of our books. This
Right.
book, hardback, is glossy. You can see the shine on there. And this is a paperback that I also did in gloss, you can tell. And I
Yeah.
believe in the past I've done it in matte as well. But for some books, depending on the cover, I just prefer the glossy. Now, I'm one of the people who, when I touch matte, at least in the past, it kind of gives me the chills. I don't like my fingertips touching it. But I made a big decision, and I'll share one. When I did this small series, The Old Woman, because what it is, it's isn't talking about an old woman. The times aren't necessarily far behind us, but I just felt that Matt would work better
Yes. I
for the
think it does
topic
actually. Yes.
for
It
the
has
topic
that
of
kind
the
of
books. Pardon?
aged look as well. Yeah.
It kind of has that little bit of faded look and aging look, like you had said. And when I put the books, there's a little bit of difference here. When I put the book in hardback, I said I normally do the hardbacks and glossy. Well, here is all four of those books in hardback, and it's glossy. You can see it shine
Yeah.
there. And it's fine. I think it's nice. But then when I ordered it, in the matte for this book, again, for these stories, I really preferred the matte. And
Really,
for
yeah,
me, it has to do with subject matter more than anything, I think.
probably.
So like you said, I think the glossy is considered more for textbooks and nonfiction. And um, some of those I just showed you, not the old woman, but the others were nonfiction. Um, those type of books, they consider glossy more pertinent for that, and matte for the novels. And you said for poetry too, is that right?
That's right. For some poetry books, I think,
Okay. So it is true, like with children's books, I think they can kind of be wiped clean if they're glossy, and
Yes.
as long as you don't get them too wet. And the matte, I think, can maybe deteriorate
I
or
think
be
so.
bent more easily.
Especially if you're carrying books around from, like, you go to a craft show or a book you're doing selling books at a different show. If you're carrying books around, they can get dirty. There are bookshelves in a bookshop for a long time too. They can get dirty.
Now, I don't know if you can tell the difference in this one. I was going to show you. If you can see, there's three examples. This is a hardback that is glossy. You can see the sheen, the shine of
Yes, I
it.
can see that.
Okay, I did a paperback in gloss, and I did a paperback in matte. Now, I like them equally in this book, and they look almost the same, but you can see one shines, and the other one doesn't
Yeah,
really do that.
I like the
So
book. It's very hard to choose, really.
one doesn't look, the matte on this one looks just, it really doesn't look more muted, just barely. So it might depend on what's on your cover too, how much more it might look muted or kind of faded with the matte. And in the end, it's really personal choice, but for me, it boils down to what is on that cover and what the topic of the book is.
It's true. These two books now, one is not KDP and the other one
Okay.
is. So I don't know, can you see the difference? They're both matte, but this one's got the more softer feel to it, but this is more like, I don't know, card, I suppose.
Okay,
Might
and
be.
it does the one uh where the fairies dwell.
Yes,
That one looks a little bit more sheeny. Like now, this was
yes.
not done by this printing was done by Draft to Digital. I also published the Draft to Digital, and this is the glossy, like I showed you, but it's very nice. And two different printing companies, and I actually liked that one better through Draft to Digital. And then the other thing, when you're picking out and this is kind of going into our other subject about paper. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
I think that I am partial to white paper.
Yes.
However, that is supposed to be, as they say, the loose rule for that is more for textbooks, nonfiction, certain types of books, maybe children's books, whereas cream is more for fiction and maybe, I don't know what poetry would be, white or cream. What do you pick?
Um, well, I've usually had white, and you'd want premium color for, which is based on white for the children's books. For especially, you've got a lot of illustrations. You'd need to
Right.
have premium color to bring out the best colors. But I did a poetry book on Kindle Direct Publishing for another poet, and I chose a cream, and it came out really nice, and she
Did it?
liked it. Yeah.
I started looking at the books on my shelves, all the fiction that I have, that kind of thing, and it's cream paper. Some of them are darker, I think, because they're older and maybe mass market paperbacks. Some of the newer ones that are cream, they don't look as discolored. Like I don't know if the cream paper darkens with age more. I don't know. It
I'm not
seems
sure
like it
either. It'd be
does.
interesting, yes.
They do say, when you look this up, to try to decide your page color, that it's easier on the eyes to read cream because there won't be a reflection off the white. Now, I don't personally think I have a problem with that, but just needing glasses, I sometimes have a problem reading anyway. But the cream paper does not bother me at all.
I think
Um,
it gives it a softer look,
it
and I
does.
think it's ideal really for maybe kind of an old-fashioned type novel or
Right.
poetry.
So here's the thing though, and correct me if I'm wrong. Like when I did the old woman, I chose this is white paper. And I
Yes.
thought, well, why didn't I choose cream paper when I chose the matte finish? And it's supposed to be an old story, old type story. Well, um, I think in KDP, you can change when you go back to reorder between matte and glossy, you can change that up, but once you choose your paper, you can't change it. That's how it
Oh,
used to be.
I'm not
Because
sure.
I've tried to do
I've
it.
done that.
But now recently coming up to
Yeah.
the groundwood paper, they sent me a notice that that was a new paper and all of my books are eligible for me to go in and pick what I want now, white, cream, or ground paper. And I don't know if that's
That's
going to
good.
continue because in the past they wouldn't let me change my paper color. Did you experience that?
Only changed the, as I say, from matte to gloss on the outside. I haven't really changed the inside at all. I usually just go with what I chose at first. But that's interesting. Yes.
Yeah, and I wondered why, but I guess they have it set and they don't want to unset it, But with
Yes.
this book, because it's got a white cover, I looked at another book sitting next to it that had cream paper, and I said, "Oh no, I think this book needs white paper." I just thought it looked better with
Yes.
the cover. So you have to kind of take in a lot of visual effects. And maybe it's still, personal opinion, but
Well, I think what's important is if you're not sure, order proof copies of both.
true. That's a good idea.
And people advise that you to make up your mind because actually you don't know what's going to turn out. Sometimes the colors look a bit different on a book. It's good to get
Yeah.
a proof copy first.
And just by a point that I just learned about a week ago, when you order a proof copy through KDP, it arrives with a not for sale band across it.
Yes.
I ordered a proof copy through Drafted Digital and it comes just like this, ready to go.
Oh,
And you just look at it and it's a usable book. And I went, oh, I kind of like that. So
yeah.
you have to weigh, back and forth what you're doing and what you need. But I didn't know that. I don't remember ordering a proof from them before. I just ordered
That's
them.
handy anyway.
It's something to know that's different out there. Now, I don't know how Ingram Spark does that or anybody else.
I've only done a couple of books on Ingram Spark, and I can't remember if I actually ordered a proof at all.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people use Lulu and order from Lulu, even if they don't print there or don't publish there. And I don't know how they do it. I'll have to ask. But that was just a difference. I went, oh, well, this is an actual usable book, because it's
Yeah,
not on there.
that's it.
And so, I mean, I paid for it. It wasn't a free copy, but I was happy to see that it was a book I could use or sell or whatever I'm going to do.
Definitely. Tell me about this new paper that's out. I haven't dared to
Well,
use it yet myself, but you have.
it's fairly new. And I got a notice, I think, in my email about groundwood paper. And I'm like, what? What's groundwood paper? So I went directly to KDP because inquiring minds want to know. And there it was with a little blurb about it. And all of my books were eligible to try the groundwood paper. And they state, and I was reading, I have it right here, it's economical, eco-friendly paper. And it says it's made using mechanical wood pulp instead of chemical processes.
Which is good.
Yeah, and it says it's widely used for newsprint, mass market paperbacks, and school construction paper. So you can think how it's softer, and it is softer.
Yes.
So I mean, immediately I wanted to know, okay, how is this different? And they'll show you on KDP, if you choose cream, white, or ground paper, they show you a picture of what it looks like. Well, their cream looks quite cream, their white looks quite white, and the
Yes.
ground paper looks on there, I think it looked a little more cream, but in reality, to me, and others have said this, let's see, this is the one, it looks off-white, sort of like
Oh,
an antique white. And I don't think you can see it through the computer here, but here's white inside this book. I don't
right.
have the best, that's natural light coming in right there. And this is, whoops, I'm gonna wreck my book. This is the groundwood. I don't know if you can see any shade difference at all.
Not much, really, no.
I didn't really find it to be much, but when I put them side by side in bright light or sunlight, I can see that this one that's groundwood the pages do feel softer. There's a definite
Right.
texture difference. And apparently the paper is thicker. So if you have a very thin book, it didn't matter much for this. It's a very short novelette Christmas story. It doesn't really matter much here.
Yes.
But it did mention that if you are wanting, if you have a small book and you're wanting it to look thicker, groundwood paper would add some bulk to it.
That's good. And also too, when there's a problem when they're too thin and you can't put the name of the book on your name on the
Right.
spine, that
So
could
it
help.
it might, fix that if you have a thin book.
It's supposed to be cheaper, I think, isn't it, as well?
It's cheaper. I've forgotten how much cheaper now, but it was worth trying. But a couple more facts. It says the composition, it retains high amounts of natural linen from the tree, which makes the paper thicker. Okay, opaque and bulky. That's that. It says it's chemically unstable when exposed to air and light, causing it to turn yellow and become brittle over
Right.
time. So kind of like newspapers might, and they said they use that for newspapers. It is a lower production cost. So there's some pros and cons, but I did read a review that this person said they would never choose groundwood because they didn't think it would hold up over time, that it would deteriorate faster. Like it said, get brittle and yellowed, whereas the
But we
others
don't
might
know
not.
how long the time would it be
Yeah,
10
how
years or
long would
15
we have
years?
to wait to know
Yeah.
that? So I'm going to order, I have two book signings coming up, one in September, one in November. And I'm going to order some more books in groundwood that I already have in white. And I'm just going to compare them for a little while.
I think one a lot of people now are very aware of climate change and the environment and everything. So they would definitely maybe go for a book with groundwood over a book with the other paper,
Yes,
because they would be that way minded.
right. And I don't know if anybody else is offering that in Draft to Digital. I did not see that. They do let you go back and forth between matte and glossy. Um, but it is something new to try, maybe specifically in novels, fictional books, not the textbooks.
I think it'd be interesting to do one anyway, and just to see.
Yeah, that's
Maybe,
exactly what I did.
I don't think I would use it for my children's books, but I might do it for the poetry book, or if I
Yeah,
ever write them
because
more.
a poetry book might be handled a little more delicately than a children's book.
Yes.
So it is an interesting new option, and you can't really know until you get one and feel it and read it and compare it to your white pages or your cream pages, decide for yourself what you think might be good for a certain book. Again, for me, it's always like, would this be good for this book? And I
Right.
tried it with Christmas Longings because this story takes place in, what did I make it? 1958, 56 or 58, right in there. So it's a little ways back. It's in our era when we would be the age of these children. And I thought, well, maybe the groundwood paper, it didn't seem to change the front of I chose gloss for this book because there's a photo in here that comes from a New York newspaper. And I wanted the glossy, but someone was comparing the cover design, the covers when choosing groundwood, and I don't know that it's used in the covers. I didn't really understand that yet. Do you know?
I don't actually know, but I mean, they're experimenting that paper can be recycled and
Mhm.
be more environmentally friendly. So possible.
Yeah. What's the main reason that you prefer glossy? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I'm drawn to bright, shiny things, I
Yeah,
think.
me too.
Yes.
Bling.
So I just think they're easier to keep clean, and I just think they look cheerful and bright.
Especially since you do
Yeah.
children's books. I mean, partly your
So,
genre, I would suppose.
and they bring out the colors too, if you want,
Yeah.
especially for children. Yes.
I didn't like it. Like some books I've tried in matte, just try one, and I'm like, it looks too drab to me. I want it to kind of pop
Yes.
a little bit, as they say. So
So
that,
maybe we're not sophisticated enough.
yeah. Now I'm the book I'm working on, I'll have to decide. I might have to see one of each, plus the paper one of
Yes.
each, because it's called The Story Room, and it's a dark photo in a darker room with light coming in a window. And I thought maybe that one will need glossy to show up, or maybe it would look kind of neat matte. I
Yes.
don't know. So I guess I'll take your advice and try one of each, both with the matte and glossy and the ground wood or not.
Yes, it'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Maybe I'll have to do a third one and try the cream. I don't know. But
I actually prefer, when we were young and there was books there from our grandmother's times and that, they would we didn't have those problems, like they were leather bound, they were beautiful, they were lovely to touch, like this one now,
mhm.
it's the Winnie the Pooh one.
Yes, I
And
like those.
I love these embossed
Yes,
pictures. I mean, they're a pleasure to look at, they're a pleasure to feel, and
they
they
are.
last. This is very old, it's last, and this is the Just So stories by Rudyard Kipling.
Yep, I love that. And I
That
have an
was,
old book
yeah,
downstairs that's full of short stories, and it's not leather, but it's old. There's no modern day cover, and
yes,
I personally really like that. But I think the majority of people in the world today are looking for covers that draw them. And
that's
as I've
it.
shared with you before, I'm kind of drawn to the title and the blurb before I ever think about what cover is on the book. So we're not all the same, but we have to think about our readers and what they might be drawn to. It might depend on the type of book.
Definitely, I'm drawn by colors, title, and blurb. Those
Okay.
are, and then I dip into the book maybe, and I might go like to the beginning and maybe the end and just have a quick look to see.
See how it is in the end.
Yeah.
Well, something like that little purple book you just showed, to me, that was kind of eye-catching. I don't know, maybe just the color or just that it's old. I like old things.
Yes.
But I did find on Unsplash, where I find a lot of my cover designs, photos of, or I think they're photos of old style looking books. I thought, whoa, what if I use one of those one time with a catchy title? How would that be?
Yes.
Someday I might do a book of
Yeah.
drabbles, and maybe that would be appropriate for that. I don't know. Because how would you have, what cover design would you have for drabbles? A drabbles a 100-word story. So what
Or
kind of,
was that's also known as flash fiction, isn't it?
I think flash fiction is a little bit more, but there's drabbles
Right.
and dribbles. Dribbles are a story you tell in 50 words. I
Wow.
haven't tried that one. A drabble is 100 words, and I have a number of those. Um, so I don't know, but I might try it someday, and if it's a flop, I could put a different cover on it. You never know.
It's
Or
good
I
to
could put it in
experiment.
two and see which one sells the most.
And I think maybe even do a survey of your readers, kind of like, what would you prefer?
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Because sometimes what I prefer is not what they prefer. And so
it's
I'm trying
true.
to make it fun and happy and pleasing for them, you know. So,
Because I also think because of the environmental thing with the groundwood, that you could actually put that on your cover, and that would actually encourage some people that are environmentally
oh,
aware,
that's
that they, oh yes, I would buy that book because of that.
put a little note at the bottom of your blurb or
Yeah.
something, or inside the
Yes.
book. I don't know. That's a good idea because this is a new option for us that just came about. And I wonder how many people have tried it already. If you try it, you'll have to let me know what you think.
Okay. I will.
I don't know what you'll try it on, but whatever you might
I
try
don't
it
know
on.
when I will.
Yeah. I don't know. Not a children's book.
I say not a children's book now.
Yeah, not a children's book. Well, so to each author, all of you authors out there, you have decisions to make, and it does help to ask your readers sometimes, do you like this cover or that cover better? Or would you like to see a book old style, or would you prefer that? I think I'll try that.
We're all different, so it's interesting what people actually go for.
I'll have to make a mock cover of something and see what they go for. I have a feeling that fewer would go towards an older looking book, but it might depend on the age of the person too, who's looking.
Because some people like the traditional look as
Hmm.
well.
Yeah. I have no idea what color paper most people prefer, but I do want to try something with cream paper, some specific book, maybe even this new storybook I'm doing, and see how that turns out, especially if they leave it to where you can change it. because I might
Yeah.
want to change it. I don't know if that's going to continue or if that's temporary, but well, we're about to run out of time, Eileen. And
It's been very interesting to talk with you again,
yeah,
Nancy.
you too. I always enjoy our talks, and we will be back again before too long with another topic. And do you have any new release coming out anytime soon?
No, I'm working on a book at the moment, but I don't know when it'll be released. I'm doing it in bits and pieces.
I think mine will be released in the fall.
Yeah,
That's the plan. So,
it's a children's book. So
okay.
yeah,
Well, great. Well, thank you for meeting up with me today. And we'll just get together again soon.
great to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
Right,
Have a
bye.
good rest of the day. Bye. Thanks for listening,
Thank
everyone.
you.